We are in Mother Nature's playground, Callaway Gardens, Georgia, for the 38th Annual Masters Water Ski Championships, an invitation-only event for the best in the water ski world. And on the water for the jump event, Andrea Gaytan, who last year, 96, had a horrible crash in Orlando, spent the entire winter rehabbing.
Absolutely brutal. He dislocated his hip, broke his femur because he had too much soap in his bindings. He's got that solved today. He's taking his first crack at the ramp. Each jumper will have 3 rips at the ramp. These are the major leaguers of water skiing. And it's all about distance this afternoon. The longest jump wins.
Nice flight for Alessi.
Taking another look, he's building speed with the cut to the base of the ramp, and he's trying to combine a big spring off the top to get the greatest distance.
To the untrained eye, the beauty of Robin Lake can be very deceiving. For 37 years now, it's hosted the world's finest in water skiing. For some, the experience has been treacherous, others triumphant, but for all, without question, it has been memorable. The immortals ski here, such as Hall of Famer Joe Cash, reflecting a level of excellence that has spawned today's champions in the slalom event. To date, Andy Mapple has won an unprecedented 8 Masters titles. Larry Panaccio's tenacity for men's jumping inscribed his name on the trophy forever. The same for Bruce Neville and 96 Masters champion Carl Roberge. And the renowned brilliance of overall skiers Liz Allen and Chuck Stearns is ingrained in today's Patrice Martin and Brandy Hunt. This is the ultimate title. This is the Masters. Hi everyone, I'm Doug Dunbar. Here at the 38th Annual Masters, we have assembled the finest field of international competition. There'll be 4 disciplines you'll see: slalom, trick, jumps, and the hot new sport of wakeboarding. In the sport of jumping, though, not much has really changed over the years. The ramp, still 14 feet wide, still just over 21 feet to the top of the ramp, and still exactly 6 feet tall at the top. But the world record continues to be broken. Why is that? Well, it is the hot new technology in the skis that the jumpers are wearing. And with more on that, at the world record mark, some 3/4 of a football field downrange, my colleague Wayne Grimnich.
Thanks very much, Doug. If you want to be competitive in the men's jumping event these days and really wage war, you've got to get yourself a pair of these long jumpers. These happen to be 80 inches plus, about 8 to 10 inches longer than the standard equipment issue. Bruce Neville skied on these to a world record jump of 220 feet. Now, what do these do for the jumpers? 2 things. Basically, they're more forgiving at the top of the ramp when the skiers are trying to kick like mad. They can be a little bit further forward and not lose the tip out the front because the air hits the increased surface area and they fly like a kite further and more consistently than we've ever seen before. So whether you're a competitor or a spectator, you gotta love these skis. Let's go see them in action.
If you're a water skier and you have an ounce of pride in the sport, this is where you want to make it, folks. The 38th Annual Masters Water Ski Tournament, Callaway Gardens, Georgia. We're in the middle of the jump event. Andrea Gaytan has taken 1, but he faces the likes of Neville and the 96 Pro Tour champion Roberge. Andrea Gaytan back on the water, jump number 2 after a 175. Not a terrific jump.
Launching himself off the top of the 6-foot ramp. That's a better improvement from his opening leap of 175, but still not getting things organized on the cut, the double weight cut, where you build speed and then try to pack it together with a spring to put a mark out there for the rest of the field to try to catch.
182 feet on the second jump, a 3rd and final try. He needs more.
Really digging on this one, and he's off the end, better lift, got the legs straight off the top, and that's going to be his best jump of the round.
The Italian, 190 feet, a possible medal contention jump here at the Masters.
He really needed to have a little bit more speed, and he came off sort of the side of the ramp, not getting his full kick off the end, but pretty good effort for Alessi, considering he had a broken leg and broken femur last year.
Bruce Neville, the Aussie, the current world record holder, ranked number 1 in the world.
And you're looking at one of the most naturally gifted jumpers in the circuit right now. He can cut with the best of them, he can spring with the best of them, and when he gets those 2 together, well, he sets world marks.
Bruce Neville's wife is shoreside here at Robin Lake, offering a bit of advice. She's a '96 Masters champ, and she actually was there when Bruce landed the world record jump.
The record-setting jump, I actually knew it was going to be the record. I had a couple of jumps before there was around 215 feet, and then I just had this boomer jump that I knew it was way further, and I was just saying, I said, that's got to be it, it's got to be the record. And I tell you what it was, but it was only by 0.1.
Kind of curious, as the world record holder, you have probably one of the toughest seasons in 1996. Did it play on your mind?
Getting back into that competition was kind of hard because everyone expected Bruce Neville to go out there and perform his 220-foot jump every time he hit the water. So I kind of let that affect me a little bit mentally. I had a lot of ski problems, like I couldn't find a set of skis I liked, and I crashed like 4 times last year. I cracked my sternum, which really knocked me around halfway through the season, and that kind of set me back a lot. And, you know, just a couple of unlucky rollers at the bottom of the ramp one time, and, you know, I kicked it where I shouldn't have, and I wasn't being smart. I was being a bit too aggressive, like Bruce Neville's got to win all the time, instead of just thinking what I had to do.
I couldn't let you get away without asking you one thing. What's up with the snow ski jumping?
It's something that I always wanted to do. I've, you know, watched the Olympics, and you look at the big jumps, and you see how high they are, and you look out and you think, man, that'd be a thrill. And, you know, water ski jumping is a thrill, but it's got nothing compared to going off a 120-meter jump, you know, looking down and say, I've got to land down the bottom of that.
Your current leader, Andrea Gaytan. Neville 3 feet behind.
And he's really pushing hard on this one, sitting back that time. The skier tries to assume a perpendicular angle to the water. That time he was on his heels. That often happens when you are trying to dig for speed to get to the ramp. So that's not going to be the best jump, probably the best of his 2 so far, but it's not certainly going to put pressure on the rest of the field. Bear in mind, he broke Carl Roberge's streak earlier this year with a victory in Orlando. Can he do it here? He gets a better spring off the top, but I don't think it's 200 feet.
200 at this point not mattering, because 193 in the second put him in the lead. This looks like a bigger leap, though. 197 feet on jump number 3 for Neville. Carl Robert sees the task at hand. He'll head for the jump when we come back.
Before your slalom parts the mist on that perfect day. Before the twists and turns. Before the lake becomes your personal domain. Before the world turns topsy-turvy at the bottom of your feet. Before the tube tumbles and the grill is hot. Before the key even goes in the ignition, we at Correct Craft have built you the finest boat in the world, a Nautique.
The 38th Annual Masters is brought to you by Nautiques, the world's #1 choice. The men's jumping event, best of 3, longest wins. Scotty Ellis chasing the leader now, which is Bruce Neville, the current world record holder, at 197 feet.
Note the tape on his right leg. A severe injury 2 years ago. He tapes his foot so that it's above horizontal, if you can believe that. It's almost phenomenal. I mean, it's a fantasy that this guy is out on the water, but in the last couple of years, he's gotten stronger. And when he gets his technique right at the base of the ramp, he catapults himself, launches himself. The man has springs for legs.
The cat-like landing, a little short though, 184 feet.
Trying to search for that springing position, and better, you can see there the nice float that he gets. That's an outstanding jump. Going to be very close to Neville's, I believe. Right here, gets the pull from the boat, pulls forward, stays motionless in the air, sights the landings. And that is right on Neville's mark of 197. Now can he better this one? Digging in really hard, and he's just a little late. Had the same problem as Bruce, sitting back at the base of the ramp. And when you're hitting a 16-degree angle, you've got to be a little bit further forward because it throws you back. You have to pre-jump the jump because the impact is so severe, about 10 to 20 G's of force on the lower body.
Coming in anywhere near 60 miles an hour. Freddie Krueger now.
The tough, tenacious, and talented Krueger. Very lively set of legs, smaller than the rest of the field. He's kind of like a strong trick skier out there, very agile.
22 years old out of Zachary, Louisiana.
Had some difficulties in the last year, however. He's taken a lot of crashes, and that can start to play with your mind. You start to question your body position at the base of the ramp, and let's see if he can find it right here. Skis moving around quite a bit, better extension off the top, but you can see as he comes off the second wake, his skis are moving around a lot, and that's unsettling. It's tough to find the springing or launch position.
Well, consistency's been his real big problem, and a good confidence jump here.
Now that'll reaffirm his body position. Now he's got one left.
You might have heard the announcer, 196, that moves Kruger into second position.
Can he find it? Can he really? Oh, and he is back again. Here, once again, when you're digging for speed, trying to find that momentum to carry you and launch you into the ramp, you can set yourself on the heels, and there he's on his right and left heel and has no chance in getting off the top.
The 196 in the second jump, good enough for third place right now for Freddy Kruger, but all eyes are on the water. How many times in 96 did Carl Roberge play spoiler to the entire field, oftentimes on his first jump?
Actually, it was every time. He did not lose in 96. He lost that string in Orlando not too many weeks ago. Mr. Roberge is the king of the ramp recently.
That's a good jump. Looks to be right in the neighborhood of our current leader, Bruce Neville, along with Scotty Ellis.
Carl has finally found a pair of skis that suit his physique and his talent on the water. Look at that turn, full rotation, carving, pushing, and he gets an excellent extension off the end. Not as quick as Ellis.
Crowd appreciates the effort. And Carl Roberge has done it on his second jump. The 96 Masters champion returns and takes it again.
That magic move that Roberge has into the cutting and pulling position sets him just right for the base of the ramp, and he gets those long legs straight, that 6'2" frame, and sails on to defend his title.
Carl Roberge, 203 feet. Congratulations to the Canadian Ellis and Neville, second and third here in the men's jump finals, the 38th annual Masters. But next, the women take to the water and they'll navigate the slalom course. We move to the Rolex Women's Slalom event here at the 38th Annual Masters. The Australian record holder in slalom, Tony Neville, leads the field.
The ultimate test of one's ability to carve a turn on one ski is the Robin Lake Slalom course. 6 buoys, 3 on each side of the course. The boat speed in the women's slalom is 34 miles an hour. And as you can see, the skier swings from side to side, and she's running just a little bit late here in the race from buoy to buoy, but you know what? She has that no worries Australian attitude, and she actually runs the course better when she is late.
And not bad, actually. This is the downwind leg of the course, which pushes the skier toward the ball.
The idea here is to get on the front of the ski to slow it down, but when you're running late, that's tough to do because you got to pull long to get outside the buoy.
On this next pass, Neville's rope will be shortened up, but she'll have the advantage of heading into the wind. This is the 38 off.
This is the cruel joke in water skiing. They shorten the rope when you're successful on the previous pass, and she runs very late off of number 1 and only gets a quarter of number 2. Slow through the gates, does not get a good pull at the second wake. Very narrow and fast into 1. You can see way past the buoy there. Has to pull all the way to 2 and just throws her ski to the outside.
Neville sets the benchmark for the ladies, 1 1/4 buoys at 38 off. Now the tall Jennifer Leachman from West Virginia.
Was she a basketball player? Of course she was in college. A very fine, talented skier as well. She has never had much problem running lots of buoys, but sometimes a problem doing it on Sunday. Right here, another left foot forward skier who turns exceptionally well on 2 and 4, her offside. She's very supple on that side, gets forward with her knees.
3 times the world record holder is Leachman.
Right here, she comes in, gets well forward on her offside, executes a nice turn there. A little slower rotation sometimes on the onside.
Lives in Orlando, 33 years old, and we move to the 35 off pass.
Everything gets a little bit quicker here, and oh wow, awful turn, another bad turn, and she's not going to get to number 2. Very early on in the line shortenings, a miss at 35 off. Who would have thought this? But she's slow here, gets pulled up, and remember, the boat's going at constant speed. It doesn't wait for you, and so any little mistake or hesitation really costs the skier.
Second place, 2 buoys at 35 off. We move to Susie Graham, Masters champion in slalom, 88 and 1990.
Matter of fact, the first 4 years she skied the Masters, she won half of the titles here. She's very familiar with this course as well as with this ski. She's been on this ski, I think, for at least 5 years. Very comfortable. She knows what it does. A strong, powerful skier.
Using the reaching ability, taller helps, no question about it.
She has kind of a unique, I guess I could call it a twitch on 2 and 4. She gets away with it. She dips her head sometimes. She has extraordinary balance even though she skis fairly straight-legged.
The rope has been shortened to 38 off.
Coming into number 2 there. You see the head dip, but boy, she gets the handle into the hip and she just locks into that pull.
That 3 buoys at 38 off though, Wayne, she is our new leader.
Good shoulder position through the wakes there. She dips, but she gets back quickly, but just too late coming into 2 to make up ground on 1 buoy.
Check out the resume now. Christy Overton Johnson, Master Slalom champ, 92, 93, 95, 96, maybe 97.
Well, let me just add something to that. She was the trick skiing champion in 85 and 86, and she carries a lot of that rhythm and agility onto the slalom course and has refined her technique as well as her strength has improved in the last couple of years, and that's why she is dominant.
I think that skiing is so different from other sports because it's an individual sport. You're out there and you mess up, you're finished. It's not like volleyball or other sports where if you have a bad play, you know, you've got another however many sets to make it up. If I fall over one ball and I've flown to Australia, I gotta climb back on the plane and go home. And so I think in that aspect, I mean, my husband has played football in college and all team sports, and he thinks skiing is way harder just because you have one shot and do what you can do or you go home.
Christy, at the end of last year, you took the women's slalom event into previously uncharted territory. 41 off, 34-foot rope. Has the significance or the importance of that performance settled in yet?
There's pressure because everybody wants to see it again, but it's just so nice to be the first person to ever do it because no one can ever take that away from you. And just, you know, I feel like I can relax a little bit, but you know, I really would love to do a couple more buoys at that pass, and I feel like it's possible.
I would love to know, as well as the rest of the world out there, what your father exactly said on the phone when you told him you ran into 41 off.
He told me I was lying because I always call him up and joke around at what I ran and stuff, and I kept telling him, he goes, "No, you didn't." I said, "Yeah, I did," and he was really excited, and I called Larry Meddock, and they were thrilled because that was the first time that I'd ski behind the new Craft boat and ran the world record right behind it, and he was just thrilled with that.
Christy Overton Johnson looking to lock herself into a battle with Susie Graham, our current leader, 3 at 38 off.
But first she's got to clear all 6 buoys at 35 off, about 2.5 feet of extra rope to get around the buoys. Both she and Susie have great pulling positions through the wakes. The hips are up, the shoulders are back. Excellent. Now her thoughts moving right to that next pass and the start.
You know, she's focused, but Dad is probably more nervous than she is.
No doubt about it. This is where it really gets tough. The line shorter and shorter demands the technique be that much more specific. Your window of opportunity to turn the buoy is very narrow here.
38 off. Oh, almost down on number 1.
Makes it up pretty well on number 2 and is, wow, she stands up on number 3. That ties Susie Graham. Kind of a surprise though. I mean, she was in a little better shape than I thought she was going to be at 3, but perhaps the problem on 1 here is what caused her to hesitate and not turn number 3, because she comes out of 2 better than maybe what she thought, maybe a little surprised here and thought, well, maybe I'll stand up, get a tie, we'll go in a runoff.
That is exactly what will happen. Susie Graham, Christy Overton, both 3 at 38. The tie, they'll run it off. Susie's in the water, she'll go next.
Timing, Rolex. Grace, Rolex. Rugged strength, Rolex. Electrifying performance. Qualities found in the Rolex Oyster Perpetual and in these champion athletes. Rolex is the official timepiece of the Masters Water Ski Tournament.
Susie Graham and Christy Overton Johnson have tied in the women's slalom event here at the 38th Annual Masters. Graham's first opportunity on the water to try and go away with a 3rd championship.
Needs a good forward ball right here. Gets a nice turn on number 4, just waiting for 5. Excellent job by Susie Graham.
Super pass. Crowd loves it, and Wayne, it appears the water might be calming down a little less wind.
It's been up and down a little bit. The key on the next pass, however, is how well she takes the gates and slows the ski down with a little bit of a following wind.
Great skiing. Excellent composure by that fighter. Feet off the line.
Graham with a first effortless pass. Now we get to the nitty-gritty. 38 off.
Oh, narrow on number 1. Yeah. And even narrower on 2. Doesn't get a good pull through the wakes. Just an awful start here. You needed just the right mixture of speed and pull and angle, and all of that has to wait. Maybe shut down or pull a little bit early coming to 1, flying into 2, and I think disappointed with that start. She lets go as she turns the buoy.
Yeah, last time around she had 3 at 38. She halves that, only 1.5 at 38 off. It is all up to Christy Overton Johnson now. It's hers to win or to lose.
Moving into a slight headwind here. It'll help her slow the ski down. Gradual pull, hard pull to second wake, deceleration here, handle on the handle, accelerating across.
That's her father, Parker Overton, watching from the shore.
And she's really right on it, standing exactly on the ski as she should through the different phases of the turn, through the wakes. Boy, that was a walk in the park.
And Parker looks like he just had the number 1 horse come in.
This is just beautiful technique, right on the ski. Forward on the ski, back on the ski, away from the boat, handle near the hip. Couldn't be better.
Christy Overton Johnson needs 1 3/4 buoys officially to win the Masters.
Oh, and she rears back on number 1 now, flying, narrowing to number 2.
She missed the buoy. Officially 1 buoy at 38 off, never getting around number 2.
I think we're seeing overcompensation for being forward on the ski the time before. Here she's back on it. It never completes the turn. Pulls all the way to number 2, and right there she hits the buoy and kicks the ski out.
4 slalom titles over the years here on Robin Lake, but not in 1997 for Christy Overton Johnson. And that, of course, means we have a champion for the 3rd time, Susie Graham. Number 1 in slalom at the Masters. When we come back, we're sky high. Wakeboarding next. Fourth year in a row for wakeboarding here at the Masters in Pine Mountain, Georgia. These are the top 5 riders. Tony Finn joins me in the booth to take a look at some of the best in the world in freestyle wakeboarding. 2 passes, 25 seconds apiece. We'll get underway with a California boy, 25-year-old Cory Pickos.
Cory Pickos has been on tour a long time, and he says right now he's going out every time to win. He's got a lot of seconds and thirds, but no victories yet, and he's charging hard. Big air right there on that railing, and he lands it fakey right at the end, turning it into a crib. And there's a switch stance front flip, board going end over end. And right now, the whirly bird, a back roll with the complete 360-degree turn while the rope is over his head, and that's an excellent first pass for Cory. Here he is going for the switch stance front flip. That's a lot more difficult than a normal front flip because the board is backwards. And then the whirly bird, a back roll. Look at the position of his arms and his hands as he keeps that rope nice and tight. Good whirly bird for Cory.
Great first pass, 9,500, on pace for possibly hitting 20,000. He's 25 seconds away.
Cory coming into the wake switch stance, landing it forward. Now backside carve, big extension on that railing. Taking his time right here. Remember, you only have 25 seconds to complete your pass. Tries to land that trick blind. Goes for a front flip and tries to land it blindside and can't hold on.
14,990. Going to be tough to be in the top 3 with that.
Look at this trick. Grabs it and then lands it blind, lands it a little bit short, and because he hit the top of the wake, it caused him to fall.
This is the most consistent rider in 1996, Sean Murray.
Sean living large every day, going out big. Look at that big carve into the wake. Good grab on that hoochie glide.
You'll always see a smile. You'll always see him play in the crowd. Murray loves what he does, and he lets it show each and every time he's on the water.
Watch Sean Murray's version of the whirly bird right here. Good extension, a little bit bigger than Cory. Now here's a trick that he invented. It's the air whirly bird or the Tweety bird, and he barely gets it in time. All right.
How tough is that without a wake?
Here's the whirly bird, a lot bigger than Cory's, gets more extension. Now he's asking for more speed. He needs a little bit more speed to do the back roll with a complete 360. It's the Tweety Bird, and Sean is one of the only guys who can do that trick.
99.62, best first pass score we've seen. Huge Rayleigh with the backside landing.
That's called the crib, and Sean nails it. He's going really big on this aeronautique wake.
Currently ranked 10th in the world.
Good grab, lands that hoochie glide fakie.
When the judges fill in those style scores almost every time.
There's a Scarecrow Mobius, a frontside front roll with a complete 360, and here's a Mo. Can he do it? No, he's down. He's holding on. Oh my!
Sean Murray will not get credit for the last trick, but style points aplenty for Murray.
There's a Scarecrow Mobius. Excellent handle pass. Good control right there. And now with time running out, going for the Mobius, lands it a little bit off, and then tries to hold on. Look at it, how much he's holding on there. Oh, Sean did not want to say die.
Murray, with those two passes, our new leader. He set the pace for 20-year-old Greg Nekrasen.
Greg Nekrasen has a unique style. He grabs a lot of tricks like that one right there. And there's his whirly bird, a little bit different. The rotation's a little bit quicker for Greg than some of the other riders.
And a lot lower to the water as well.
Now right now, Greg's gonna do his signature trick. He's asking for more speed. This trick is beautiful. It's a tantrum to blindside. He lands it backwards. Now, the blindside tricks are incredibly difficult because you cannot spot your landing, and Greg is one of the only guys to do a tantrum to blind in tournaments.
Crowd appreciates it. Another look.
Look at that. There's no way you can see the landing. You just have to have incredible aerial awareness, which Greg has.
19.433 the score for Nekrasen. This, the X Games champion, the returning Masters champion, Canadian Jeremy Kovac.
Jeremy Kovac, one of the biggest riders. He goes very, very large.
Stature about 6 feet tall, very strong young man.
Huge extension right there.
In 1997, he has twice set the world record in wakeboarding and continues to hold it.
There's the air front flip. Now watch right now. He's going to turn the board fakie. He's going for the switch stance Mobius, a very difficult trick. Oh, he came up short. Jeremy Kovac came up short on that switch stance Mobius, and it's not going to be enough for Jeremy. Here's his first trick, a giant Vulcan, which is a Rayleigh with a complete 360-degree turn that you turn backwards. And then here's his first Mobius. Good handle pass. Makes that cleanly, but cannot hold on the switch stance Mob.
Safe to say Jeremy Kovac not in the final running here. Darren Shapiro won the first 2 years ever at the Masters, looking to return a champion in 97.
A lot of riders get nervous at the Masters because it is the most prestigious wakeboard tournament of the year, but Darren Shapiro has nerves of steel, and he very, very rarely gets nervous. Gets good carve all the time, huge carve into the wake. Giant
Big
Vulcan
air.
right there. Oh, almost goes down, but holds on to it. Darren Shapiro, very, very strong. Built super strong like a pit bull, and he's able to hold on to a lot of tricks when other guys wouldn't be able to. Just look at the extension he gets. Big carve into the wake and huge air off that wake.
Shapiro's 25 seconds away. Another pass like this, and he'll be a Masters champion in 97 after sitting out all of 1996 with a foot injury.
Look at that S-bend, a complete 360-degree turn while the board's in the air Rayleigh position and then right into an air front flip.
He's a little guy, but he's able to get big air, partly because of Nautique's flight control tower, the rope way up high, pulling the wakeboarder way in the air. He lands blindside.
We saw Nekrasen land his trick blindside, and now Darren landing his blindside. But look at the extension he gets, complete 360-degree turn. The rope position is always very important. Darren always keeping the rope nice and tight. And now
this is something.
A Mobius that he lands blindside, does not do a handle pass, and that is a clean, clean trick.
I told you if Shapiro stood up the second pass, he's going to be in the neighborhood, and he certainly has done it. Darren Shapiro, the winner. The third out of 4 for Shapiro here at the Masters. Nekrasen and Murray second and third respectively, but we're not done flying. Clear the runway. When we come back, folks like returning Masters champion Tony Neville and more. The women get set to fly. Gardens, Georgia for the 38th annual Masters Water Ski Tournament. Hello again, everyone. I'm Doug Dunbar. Competition gets underway again on the water in just a moment, but we wanted to take you shoreside because there is a sea of white tents here at Callaway Gardens that, when it comes to water skiing, has everything you can imagine. We move to the women's jump finals. April Coble leading the international field, including 96 Masters jump champion Tony Neville. Watch out for her. Coble, the first of 3 jumps, longest jump wins.
An underdog here at the Masters, having just qualified last weekend. But if that jump right there is over 130 feet, she will be the overall champion here at the Masters.
Terrific spring, beautiful landing. She secures the overall. Now the work is cut out for her for a win.
Not much speed, another good landing, but form doesn't count in the overall scoring system here in the jumping. It's pure distance. Solid on both phases of the routine, but she needs to wait a little bit later, gain some momentum to the base of the ramp, and then just kick off the top, and a little late on that one, and I don't think that's going to be an improvement.
You can see she shook her head. She's not happy with it. 132 feet, but 135 is what she brings to the table. Brenda Baldwin out of Central Florida, 26 years old, world champion in 95.
Going off a 5.5-foot ramp now at the Masters. New ramp height for the women. Makes the body position a little bit more demanding at the base of the ramp because of the steep angle. Here, nice cut, very strong girl. You get to take a look at her biceps. Her husband was telling me you do not want to get into a lat pull-down contest with her, and I'm going to take his word for it.
Tied for the lead after one jump. Oh, here's a pretty one.
Very nice effort. She is very focused and powerful to the base of the ramp. Didn't get her full extension, but that's a farther jump.
I think she just dusted April Coble. Yes, she certainly did. 145 feet. Baldwin, your new leader.
Waiting late on this one, and oh, wicked crush on that one. The record holder at 166 feet at this ramp height doesn't anticipate the ramp very well here. She's a little late and has the severe bending of the knees upon impact.
145 feet is the mark to beat. Emma Shears, the Australian, yet to come.
With a hands-free phone, voice-activated navigation, a passenger TV, and killer tunes from a 6-disc CD changer, it's never been more fun to break the sound barrier.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Callaway Gardens Masters Water Ski Tournament, but we're not lakeside, we're golf side with the Director of Golf Maintenance, Gary Wilder. Gary, before we talk about the courses, tell us the history behind the Masters Water Ski Tournament, how it got its name.
Bo Callaway Sr. in 1959, the first year of the Masters Water Ski Tournament here at Callaway Gardens, was looking for an interesting name for the ski event. So therefore, he went to Bobby Jones at the Augusta National, home of the Masters Golf Tournament, and asked permission to use the name The Masters. And Bobby agreed and said, as long as you keep it very fine quality with fine quality skiers, that would be great. And that's what happened. That's how it's named The Masters.
For other people visiting Callaway Gardens, there are other things to do than watch a water ski tournament. Could you tell the folks at home a little bit about that?
There are quite a few attractions. We have a nationally ranked tennis facility. We have bike riding. We have the Day Butterfly Center. We have the Sibley Horticulture Center that offers a lot of flowers. And of course, we have the golf courses, which you can see behind me. We have the Buick Challenge, which is each fall. The PGA Tour staff and pros come down and play, and it's a very exciting time. So there's a lot of things to do here at Callaway Gardens.
One of the biggest attractions here at Callaway Gardens, aside, of course, from the Masters Water Ski Tournament, are the golf courses. And what I find really fascinating is you've got courses for all different levels of players.
Be from the beginner on the Skyview golf course, or maybe the senior golfer, all the way coming from Lakeview to Garden View, which is also a wide open golf course, to the more challenging. So you would probably want to start off easy first and end with the tough, because if you start off with Mountain View, you may quit after one round.
My nemesis here at Callaway Gardens, no longer the jump ramp because I'm not skiing anymore, is the 15th hole on the Mountain View course. Now that is the signature hole, I understand, at Callaway Gardens.
It's about a 500-yard par 5. You have to hit it down the left side of the fairway to avoid the water on the right as it slopes towards the water. Your second shot, you have to lay up short of the water, and then you pitch over the water for your third shot. Very tough.
Tough, but not for Grimnich. You probably eagled that thing, right?
I've been in the water everywhere in Callaway Gardens. That water, this water, on my head in this water.
The women are on the water now. The returning 96 Masters jump champion, Tony Neville.
We saw her in the slalom final. She's in the jump final. She is clearly the best slalom and jumper in the world. Tony Neville has focused quite a bit on her jumping in the last couple of years. You know, 2 years ago, she looked like Spider-Woman at 5'11" coming into this ramp, but she's collected her body, she's got the right technique, and she's got a pretty good coach. I think his name is Bruce.
Husband.
Yeah.
130 feet. 145 is the mark to beat.
And that's going to be really close. Got her legs straight. Hangs on with her left hand there. That was kind of unusual. Let go with her right and just barely skis away.
There's the hubby.
Bruce telling her to be strong, drives with that left shoulder. That squares her over her skis and prepares her for the impact of the ramp, and she gets her legs straight. Beautiful effort.
Good shot of that right arm in the sling. That keeps the arm into the body, helps the hip turn.
And she lets go with the left hand, and she grabs with the left hand and lets go with the right. That's kind of unusual, but she goes 145 on the last one. That was deceptively long.
She is now tied for the lead. Terrific jump and a terrific landing. She stands atop the leaderboard. Emma Shears now with her opportunity, the Australian.
This is the world record holder at a 5-foot ramp with a leap of 158. Hard landing, but she'll ski away. That means she'll receive credit for the first attack at the ramp, and she really flew the wakes. Didn't give her much time to prepare herself for the spring.
138, not going to do it. Number 2.
Oh, once again, way off the wakes.
Better pop, though.
I'm not sure she's really carrying enough speed. When you can fly the wakes like that, you lose speed and you lose angle and body position. It's really not coming together for the top seed of the afternoon. Yesterday, she set a mark of 147 for the course record at 5.5 feet, but then today, she's not finding all the elements coming together.
She's flying higher, but not longer, and jump number 3 will be listed officially as a fall. She doesn't hang on.
Well, a very disappointing round for her because she was the top seed in the afternoon, and like I said, she had established a course record of 147 the day before. This was her opportunity.
The pressure of being number 1 heading into the finals biting Emma Shears. We are now in a jump-off situation. Tony Neville
trying to get a solid one under her belt, and she does. Nice strong cut to the base of the ramp, gets her extension. Not a quick snap of the legs.
Hang on.
But a good enough to get a one solid jump. Should be in the high 30s, maybe, low 40s. Skis away. Now, the good news is she can make the adjustment. Yes, 140. Wait a little later, build some more speed to the base of the ramp, stand up and kick. Oh, well done.
That's longer for sure, no question.
Once you get a good kick off the end, the boat will pull you forward over the skis, a wonderful aerodynamic position, and that's going to be a nice jump.
Good kick, but I'm curious about, this is the second landing in a row. 145, great jump, but 2 in a row, she almost doesn't right away from it, looks like.
She does a very strange handle change at the end of her jumps.
Baldwin.
Skis bouncing around a lot, coming to the base of the ramp. It's still a good solid, so important to get over the ramp on the first one, to get a feel of it, reaffirm your body position. She's sitting back there, but she'll make that adjustment, but the pressure is on. She has one final rip at the ramp.
2 feet shy.
Oh, an excellent extension off the top. Boy, she was just like a knife through the wakes.
She feels she has something good. We'll take another look.
Look at this, very solid. The left ski down just before she hits the ramp and stands up. There wasn't any crush, and that is a new course record.
Brenda Baldwin is a Masters champion. Look at that, 151 feet.
You're looking at the world record holder at this ramp height, 166 feet, and now the Masters course record at 5.5.
The Australian Tony Neville second after a championship last year, and Emma Shears from Australia as well in third place. When we come back, the men, including Wade Cox, the slalom event.
Before your slalom parts the mist on that perfect day. Before the twists and turns. Before the lake becomes your personal domain. Before the world turns topsy-turvy at the bottom of your feet. Before the tube tumbles and the grill is hot. Before the key even goes in the ignition, we at Correct Craft have built you the finest boat in the world, a Nautique.
38th Annual Masters, the most prestigious event in water skiing. It's the Rolex men's slalom and the field is set. First on the water, Wade Cox, living in Central Florida, 28 years old, 95 and 96, Masters champion looking to repeat.
His talent, experience, maturity all came together a couple of years ago when he won his first Masters title and U.S. Open title. He has also been the Pro Tour champion for the last couple of years. Now, today, going for 3 in a row, and only 2 other men in the history of this tournament have done that, Chris LaPointe and Andy Mapple.
Negotiating the rather calm waters of Robin Lake.
This is where the line length doesn't reach the buoys. He'll use all of his extension, his talent, his power, and this is power slalom with high-speed turns, making it look so easy. Great rhythm, technique. Wade Cox just sails through a very difficult line length. Kind of holds onto the handle a little longer coming into 2 and 4. That helps initiate the turn. Right here, gets on the front of the ski, cruises around 6, and now this is the mark. The start, so important. Can he slow the ski down?
They'll continue shortening the line until the skier falls.
Oh, and he gets pulled out coming around number 2, and he's narrow for 3, and that's going to be it. But that sets him only a half a buoy short of the course record, which is held by Andy Mapple. Kind of rears back on the ski, loses his angle, points the ski down course, again slow on number 2, has no chance of executing any kind of turn, and you can get an idea how strong he is. He holds on to the slack.
When we come back to Robin Lake, Andy Mapple will take to the water, as well as Jeff Rogers. The 38th Annual Masters Water Ski Tournament, brought to you by Nautiques, the world's #1 choice. To the slalom event, as Wade Cox has already set the pace, he has 3 at 39.5 off. Jeff Rogers will be next on the water, followed by Andy Mapple. Rogers holds the current U.S. national record. He has 4 at 41 off, very capable.
Extremely dangerous when he gets on a slalom course, and it is always kind of an adventure though, because he's on a kind of inconsistent, as you can see there, and the skis porpoising around number 4, and he just nailed number 5. Whoa, talk about coming up with a mammoth, monstrous turn.
Now, do you come out of this pass thinking, my gosh, I saved myself, or do you worry about the next one?
I mean, look at this. He breaks on his good side. The ski's jumping up all around the place on number 4. And right here, he carves a turn like from the heavens.
This becomes a test of mental fortitude now, the 39.5 off pass.
Hanging on, very strong upper body, but he's late again.
There's
Bad
2.
Tour. Yeah. Oh, man.
He needed that buoy to tie Wade Cox.
This is high-speed slalom, folks. Short line means you get stretched out, and then you try to go for it, and he does a great job. That is the fall of the day.
If you live on a lake, jump off the roof of the house. That's about what it feels like. Andy Mapple now. 8 times a Masters champion, 3 times a world champion.
He is also undefeated coming into the Masters so far this year, has really rebounded from a 2nd place finish on tour last year. And he does not want to see Wade Cox win 3 of these in a row.
He has more work to do. In the qualifying round, it was great to see multi-Masters champ Chris LaPointe contending, the oldest competitor in slalom to challenge. He's 44 years old. First appearance here on Robin Lake, 1967, believe it or not. Great run through 35 off, and inspiration to many, including Andy.
1975, I hadn't even got up on a pair of skis yet. You know, and I saw this guy out there, you know, breaking a world record in 1975. But I know with Chris, my skiing wouldn't be where it is now without him. You know, he's been a tremendous influence, not only on what he's done, but his approach to skiing, and also his knowledge of skis and equipment and what we've learned together, you know, through that. I have tremendous respect, you know, and I'm real thankful for that relationship.
Andy and I have, I think, a very special relationship, both off and on the water. He's a joy to watch ski and to watch his dedication to the sport. And I think that I've increased my dedication somewhat to the training off and on the water by watching him. Obviously, he's been one of the ones, or the one to catch the last several years, so you have to, everybody looks at him and says, well, I got to be trying to work as hard as he does, or I'm never going to catch him. And so that's a motivator for all of us.
Nobody is more aerobically fit than Andy Mapple, and Chris LaPointe has helped Andy become quite a student of the game. Moving in here, he gets in a little deep around number 2, and that's number 4. He's solved that problem, cruising right on. Like Wade Cox, he's exceptional at turning the ski very quickly on both sides of the course. Key, of course, is his pre-turn. Way forward on the ski. Watch how he plants right there, and that puts on the brakes.
Well, you know, LaPointe quietly cheering on the shore. This is 39.5. He needs 3 buoys.
Any part of number 4 will give him the victory. Coming into number 3 pretty well, and he hangs on, and he's got it! Yes! Ties the course record, held by himself, his 9th Masters title.
Unprecedented for Andy Mapple.
Really set himself up so well around number 1, deep in 2, but that strength paid off. Stayed back on the ski, away from the boat, and shot himself on to victory.
2 years in a row for Cox. He will be the bridesmaid this year. Andy Mapple atop the leaderboard, 3.5 at 39. Cox in second, Jeff Rogers in third, and as is tradition here at the Masters, the winner of the men's slalom event will go head-to-head with the winner of the women's slalom event.
And the winner of that receives the Joe Cash Slalom Trophy in honor of the great Hall of Famer who was very powerful on this very course some 30-plus years ago.
Andy Mapple might have a tough way to go. The wind's kicking up.
This is a handicap situation where the women get an extra 6 buoys to try to match the king right there, Mr. Mapple.
Susie Graham, Canadian, many-time Masters champion, 3 in the slalom event.
Both right foot forward skiers. They turn a little bit better to the right because of that, although right foot forward skiers, because of the demands of the start in slalom, learn to turn exceptionally well on their offside.
Graham, pass number 1 down. Now Mapple. They'll go until they fall.
Ooh, a little slow coming out there at 39.5 off. Oh, and he gets in really deep on 2. Whoa, he hangs on, but he can't make number 3.
Andy Mapple kissing Robin Lake on buoy number 2.
Now Susie Graham has to make this pass and then any part of 3 at the next pass, and she's deep around number 2 and flying narrow to 3 and
little
wow, inside of 4. She kind of, you know, I think maybe she's still celebrating from her women's slalom victory.
In the tricks event here on Robin Lake, Tawn Larson-Hahn, 6,520, beat out her sister Britt. And in third place was Brandy Hunt. On the men's side in the tricks event, Nicolas LeForestier, 11,030 points, his second victory in a row. And in women's wakeboarding, Andrea Gaytan, expectedly for a number 1 spot here at the Masters. Only a few will raise the Masters Championship Cup high, like April Coble, her first ever Masters Championship, and France's Patrice Martin, winning his 4th overall title on the men's side. But when Robin Lake lays flats and the skiers have all left Callaway Gardens in its serene splendor, you'll still be able to hear it. The echoes along the water of friendship, of love, and a passion for water skiing. Accommodations provided by Callaway Gardens. So long from the 38th Masters.